What's up, guys? This is Corey from New York. Hope everybody's having a nice day so far. Going to be doing something a little different today. Not going to be opening any cards or anything like that. I saw the new Scream movie and I was really inspired by the way the new mask looks. It's like a worn out old version of the mask from the original movie. Without getting into spoiler territory, it's a lot more rundown looking, obviously. Years of decay and that sort of thing. Quite a few videos online of people that have taken the regular Ghostface mask and customized them so that they're all worn out and weathered looking like the one in the movie. So I didn't record myself doing that, but I mean, I wasn't 100% sure how this was going to come out. But I'm pretty pleased with the result, and I thought I'd at least share my process with you guys. There's several videos online that people have done with these, and they're all great. Everybody, it seems like, has taken a different approach to it, and I took an even different approach to it. So, not saying one way is better than the other. This is my first real video doing something like this, so let's go through here. So I started with some pictures that I printed out offline just as references from the movie. This is probably one of the best shots of the mask. You can see all the cracks and the paint chipping away on this mask. That's the look we're going for. So this one wasn't as helpful. It's pretty low resolution, but shows you where some of the bigger chunks are taken out of the mask. And I found these. I don't know if it's real or not, but somebody said that these are what the actual company that makes the Scream masks are going to be releasing later this year. Their version of the weathered Scream 6 Ghostface mask. So I took a look at these as well. So, as I said, the first picture was the biggest inspiration for this. I think I looked at this one the most often. That being said, it's not 100% screen accurate. I don't think anybody's really is, because of the chaos of all the cracks and everything. It'd be pretty hard to get it exactly like the one on screen. So, all right, I've talked enough here. Let's get into it. So I was fortunate enough to find on Walmart.com, they had the 25th anniversary Scream masks half price for whatever reason. They came out with a new run of them. So these were like $15 each. I know they go for a lot more than that now, and they are out of stock. But I did start with a 25th anniversary Scream mask. And I was only in on it like $15. So before you guys say that's blasphemy to destroy one, I'm not out that much money on it. So the materials I used, basically the first step was I sanded the mask so it was rough so that the materials would stick to it that I was going to be using. I used an additive kind of sculpting process instead of trying to Dremel out the gouges and the cracks. Primarily Liquitex flexible modeling paste. Now, I used the flexible instead of just the regular modeling paste because the mask does have a little bit of a flex to it, and I understand that it would hold better to the form if I used the flexible. And so I applied a pretty even coat. I just used a palette knife and my fingers, smoothed it out over the mask. And then once it started to set up just a little bit, I used some sculpting tools to form some of the little chunks that are taken out. You can see in the picture there's some sections of it where they're not just cracks, it's like pieces of the mask have actually chipped away. So I built it up and then removed instead of digging into the actual mask itself. And I did my best once it was dry to smooth some of those out so it's more of an even transfer into the original layer of mask. But I think most of this is covered in the modeling paste. There's not a whole lot of, maybe along the edges where you can feel the smoothness of the original mask. So that was the first step I used. And then I found this product called Crackle Paste by Golden. And both of these I think you can get at Michael's or Hobby Lobby, whatever you prefer. It didn't work as great as I was hoping, but it did get a little bit of effect. The idea is that you spread it out and it dries and then it cracks on its own. So you get that weathered, dried out, cracked look. I did a little test on this piece of cardboard. It's a little hard to see, but you can definitely see the cracks in there, which is really the look I was going for. And then it was a little bit thicker of an application here. You get bigger cracks, but not as many. And then same with the third. So I spread that in just some areas around where I had sculpted in with the modeling paste, particularly in this area and a little bit in between the eyes here. And then once it dried, because like I said, it didn't really do as much as I was hoping for, I just went through with an X-Acto knife and I exaggerated some of the lines that had formed. Now, after this process, I went through and I sanded it again, just smoothed out some of the points that had stuck out a little too much, and tried to blend it into itself so that it looked more like pieces were taken out and the cracks were in the mask instead of raised up around that, if that makes sense. So after this, we got into painting. Now, I didn't use anything especially fancy here. I've seen people use shoe polish, which is a cool idea. I don't have any, so I use paint. I just used the cheapo kind of folk art craft acrylic paint that you can get these for like $1 each or something like that at the store. I started off with a blend of these colors, some yellows, a little bit of brown, off-white, and I heavily watered it down, and then I brushed it all over the mask. I taped it off first so it didn't get on this hood. So once you spread the watered down paint onto the mask, I just used a paper towel and dabbed it off. Let it pool up in a little bit of areas that I wanted it to leave a little bit more yellow, just so that it wasn't white still. Just gives it that aged appearance. After that, I went through basically the same technique, but with a slightly less watered down black, and I was able to get some of these cracks and these holes filled in. It helps to give it depth. Really hit with a darker black around the edges of it. Now they look like they're more deep than they actually are, and this is an illusion. That's the effect I was going for. Now, I also went through with some dry brushes, some reds, some like grayish off-white, more like the initial wash that I put over it. Again, just trying to blend these pieces in. And then after that, I went through again with another layer of that black, watered down, inky look, just to bring out some of those cracks again. And once all of that was done, I finished with the red dry brush. Some of the areas in the picture you can see there's some dried blood. And once I was done with that, I was pretty much done painting, and I used a really light grit sandpaper and just went over the whole mask and some of the transition areas just to kind of make it a little bit more subtle, help to blend some of the colors together and make it look like more of an even weathering. I would say this mask is probably 25% more weathered than the one in the picture. I just got a little carried away with some things. I'll probably keep tinkering with this just to blend it a little bit better, but as I said, I'm pretty happy with the result of this, and I thought I'd share my technique with you guys in case you wanted to take a stab at it yourself, pun intended. Now, one other thing I wanted to mention, a lot of people take the shrouds off these masks. Probably a great idea for painting these, makes it a lot easier. I know people like to do their own shrouds. My sewing skills are negligible, so I opted to leave the shroud on as is. Anything else about this? I think I pretty much touched on everything in my process here, so you can see the before and after. Customized Scream 6 Ghostface mask. If anybody has any other questions about my process or the materials I used, feel free to comment, and I'll do my best to get back to you guys. But for now, thank you all for watching, and I hope you all have a nice day.